Good morning, Tabby. Pouring my coffee. I have not had my coffee yet, which is why apparently my tongue doesn't work. Sipping my coffee here. PNW Youth Liberation Front. PNW stands for God damn it. PNW stands for Pacific Northwest. PNW Youth Liberation Front. It's one of the many different Antifa accounts that don't directly call themselves Antifa, which is becoming more and more common these days because, it's harder to keep saying you are Antifa when it's becoming more and more cracked down upon, right? Well, they tweeted, "Can we stop with formalized security teams at protests?" You mean like the one that killed those kids? It always just takes the people who want to exercise power over others, put them in a cop mindset, and legitimizes their inevitable bullshit. Never seen a situation where organic group self-defense hasn't handled shit better. Alright. Now, good points. What's that?
Welcome to communism.
Yeah, welcome to communism. Those who want power are the ones who are going to get it, and they're going to have the gun in their hands and shoot you if you oppose them.
Yep, and it's your fault that they're there.
Yeah, why do you think the Bolsheviks won? They didn't have more support in reality. No, they just had more violence, more power, more willingness to commit violence against others. Lenin was like, all right, well, if they don't vote on our side, then fuck it. Let's just fuck the votes and kill them. Now, we've said this in the past, but I think it bears repeating here that you could be the richest person in the world, you could have, say, the hottest spouse, whatever it is that you want, the best house, etc., the best job, blah, 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 and still be miserable. And most people have a deep sense of dissatisfaction no matter how amazing their lives are. But it can range from absolute misery to just that part of themselves that says, yeah, I'm not satisfied, so I'm going to do something, right? We all have that. But unfortunately, a lot of people project that outwards and say, it's not my fault, it's someone else's fault. Now, it may not be your fault, but to say it's someone else's fault at all times is really misguided. Your unhappiness ultimately is not anyone else's fault, ultimately. Okay? Yes, people can do bad things to you and all that, blah, 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 blah. But you remove those people from your lives, and it will be replaced with somebody else who will do the same thing. Because there is that placeholder within you. It's not always easy to admit it, but the more that you realize that the darkness is inside of you, the happier you can be, because then you can deal with it. And I guess maybe I'm a little bit disconnected from most people, since from the age of about 13 or so, I read, say, pop psychology books on Jungian psychology. I mean, come on, I was 13, right? But you realize that, yeah, you project outwards onto people. There's a thing called psychological projection. You project things like, the hatred, racism, sexism. It's very easy to project these things outwards and to see it on other people. Picture other people are like, when somebody wears a green screen suit on themselves, they become something that could be projected upon. Now, imagine you have a movie projector inside of your skull. You don't want to be racist, so you project that out, it gets shined onto someone else, and you see that racism on the surface of somebody else. You're projecting onto them. And that's why you could see somebody screaming in anger, like, stop being so angry and hateful! Onto somebody else who's just standing there smiling. It's happened to me. You sit there and you go, what are you talking about, hatred? I'm just wondering what you're talking about, that's all. Shut up, you hateful sons of bitches! It happens. It's called projection. We all do it to some extent, myself included, of course. The more you realize that you do it, the less you can do it, the happier and healthier you can be. And the more responsibility you take over your life, the more control and power you have over your own life. And the only power that really matters is power over yourself. Power over others is a fool's goal. But anyway, so PNW Youth Liberation Front, can we stop with the formalized security teams at protests? Yes, they are right. It's obviously, if you have a position security team, then the people who are going to gravitate towards that end up doing things like assassinating people and laughing about it, pistol whipping them as they cry and beg for their life. One kid was assassinated, the other one they didn't succeed in assassinating. 18-year-old, 16-year-old. And those are just 2 shooting victims of the Chaz, among many. Not that 2 isn't many, in that case it is. But, so, this PNW Youth Liberation Front is correct about that, but they don't fully realize it. They don't fully realize what I'm saying. JT responds. JT responded to that with, like all other problems in life, the real cop is in your own mind. In that which you deny about yourselves. Your shadow side. As long as you deny that you are that which you hate, you will always be the loser, while we winners laugh with joy, love life, and shine light into our shadow side. Folks, be a winner. Choose life, light, laughter, and love. Don't choose hate. Don't choose anger. Don't choose self-loathing, self-defeating attitudes. Don't do it. There was a saying, do what you do, but never put people out of your heart. Something to that effect. And it is in the context of, let's say you're marching with Martin Luther King Jr. You know, you want to march, you're going to do what you do, fine, hold your signs, you know, yell about racism, and that's all great. But don't completely push people out of your heart to the point where you're saying they're not human anymore. Because really, it's cutting off part of yourself.
Yeah.
And it's never healthy. And I'm being a hypocrite because there's been times where I've refused to refer to a person as a person because I'm just so disgusted with their actions. But they are human. And they could be irredeemable. That could be, you know, and it doesn't, to say don't put people out of your heart doesn't mean to forgive them for everything they do. It doesn't mean let them be what they are. It just says do not poison your own, this is what I get out of it. Do not poison your own heart, your own soul. Don't poison yourself with that toxicity. The line between good and evil runs straight down the center of every one of our hearts. I don't like to kill a weasel, for example, but to save our chickens, I'm going to do it. I'm not going to do it out of anger.
No, it's just a necessity.
Yeah.
I'm going to feel bad afterwards.
Sure.
What has to be done has to be done. And I suggest all of you start making the same amends with yourselves. Because it's better to understand the death of one's soul before you commit to it than to try and work your way through that death after the fact.
Yeah.
It's way harder to come back from that. And there's no drill sergeant here who's going to break it away from you manually. You're going to have to do it yourself. Otherwise, you will be one of many scattered bodies. Don't be a body. It's the only truthful thing I can say. It's harsh, it's horrible, and yeah, I want to shed a tear at the thought of it. But make your amends now to save yourself later. That's all I can say.
Yeah. Alrighty, folks. What do you think? Leave us a comment below.